Welcome or welcome back at I Need Help at C-School. In this video clip, we're gonna graph we're gonna sketch the graph of a rational function, and you see here what the rational function is. First of all, I will suggest you to see if that rational expression can be simplified. It's not the case in this case, so we can move to find the domain of this function. For finding the domain of a rational function, you wanna set up the denominator, in this case x squared minus 4 equals to 0. And then we'll solve it for x. So in this case, we're going to add 4 on both sides, and we're going to end up with x squared equals 4. And then solve for x, take square root, right? Don't forget to put a plus and minus, and square root of 4 is plus and minus 2. The domain of this rational function is any real number, but positive and negative 2. And you see how I cross the equal sign. Now let's go to what I call part B, these asymptotes, and we're going to break it here in two parts. One, vertical asymptotes. So now we're going to look at vertical asymptotes. How do we find them? We take the denominator, make it equals to 0. So the same kind of idea like part A. So obviously we're going to get the same solution. Do not cross the equal sign, because now this equality gives us the two asymptotes. We have x equals 2, which is this line. Right, and we have one more, which is x equals negative 2. And you notice that's the thing that I do right away on the graph. And the meaning of this asymptote is that the graph will go asymptotic with these two vertical lines. Let's go to the other asymptote, which is the horizontal asymptote. And in this case, for finding the horizontal asymptote, we need to take a look to the degree of the numerator, which is 1, right, the invisible one, and the degree of the denominator, which is 2. If you notice, the degree of the numerator is less than the degree of the denominator, so that means we have y equals 0 as an asymptote. So that's the next thing I'm going to do it. I'm going to draw this y equals 0, which is nothing else than the x-axis. The same meaning like the vertical asymptotes, the graph will go asymptotic with this horizontal asymptote. Now we can go to part B, and I'm going to look for intercepts. And for intercepts, we have two of them, right? We have the y-intercept, which means x equals 0. And if we plug x equals 0 in my f function, let's see what we get. We're going to have f of 0, and we have 0 minus 1 over 0 squared minus 4. If you take a look, this one is going to be negative 1 over negative 4, or just 1 over 4. So my y-intercept is 0 and 1 over 4, which means somewhere right here. Okay, and this is the y-intercept. And let's take a look to the x-intercept. Which means y equals 0 in this case, or the function equals to 0. So we have 0 equals x minus 1 over x squared minus 4. And this quotient is equal to 0 when the numerator x minus 1 is equal to 0. So we get the solution x equals 1. So the x-intercept is 1 and 0, which is right here. Okay, and now we go to the last part, where we're going to need some points to see how the graph is going to look like. And if you notice, we have three areas. This area, number less than negative 2, this area, number between negative 2 and positive 2, and this area, number greater than 2. So let's take a number that is less than negative 2, like negative 3, and we're going to evaluate this function. And in fact, what you want to do is to see if it's a positive or a negative value. And if you take a look, if you put -3 here, you get a -4, right? A negative number. And if you put -3, you get +9 minus 4. You get a positive number. So this guy here will be a negative number. So that should tells you that a graph should go something like this, because the value of the function of -3 is a negative number. Okay, we can really evaluate that, but we don't really need that. Similar, we're gonna take a number larger than 2. Let's finish with the right side, like +3, and we're gonna look to the value of the function at 3. So we're gonna have 3 minus 1 here, which is gonna be a positive number. 3 squared minus 9, that 3 squared is 9, plus minus 4 is a positive number. That was going to be a positive outcome here. Alright, so something you can evaluate if you want. We don't really need, like I said. So that should tells you this is the way the graph is going to go. Okay, and then we have to look in the middle between -2 and 2. So here again the same story. I'm going to go with a number that is close to that -2 from the left side, so that will be -1.9. F of -1.9. Is that a positive number or a negative number? And of course, like I said, you can evaluate it in case you need it, but you don't really have to do that. So if we have a -1.9, this numerator is going to be a negative number, and -1.9 squared is less than 4 minus 4, that will be a negative number. And again, you can grab a calculator and really evaluate if you need it. So that tells us the outcome, if we have -1.9, is a positive number. And let's do the same for the other side. So we finish with this side. Let's take a look to this side. So I'm going to take x equals 1.9. So this one is a positive number. And I have 1.9 here. And let's see what we get when we have 1.9. And 1.9 minus 1, that will be a positive number. And 1.9 squared, that will be less than 4 minus 4. That will be a negative number. So we're going to get a negative number here. And now let's see what's the meaning of these two guys. Okay, so that's the meaning. A number that is greater than 0 when you get closer to the asymptote, that means the graph comes from up here. Then don't forget it's gonna cross at this y-intercept. Gonna cross the x-intercept, and then this last thing that f of 1.9 is less than 0 should tells you once you get closer to 1.9, the graph is gonna go closer and closer and closer to the asymptote, but going down like this. And this is the graph of f of x equals x minus 1 over x squared minus 4. I have a better graph here, and you can see pretty much the same thing, the same points, asymptotes, and so on. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button and come back on C-Square for more help. Thank you.